Welcome to the Golden Dome. We got a lot to talk about, and I'm excited. From Jack Coan getting announced as the starting QB, to announcing captains, to press conferences and practices and all the in between. You've come to the right place if you are a Notre Dame fan. Let's get straight into it, because why not? Wrong tweet. I don't know. Every time I always have a problem with the stuff I line up to talk about. The baseline, so to speak. Again. And then I have a tweet that I can't use because I can't put the stuff on, or I can't put it on the screen to talk about. I'm a genius. I really am today. I'm having a great day. But hey, at least training camps started, well, their form of camp. And I didn't really get to see, but from what I was hearing, there was some good, some bad. Saw early lineups of the offensive line, some quarterback play from not only Jack Coan, but Drew Pine and Tyler Buchner and the rest. A lot of different things. And then C.J. Williams, someone who I talked about last podcast, got signed right after. And I think he got signed the next day, because I was talking about Merriweather. And then the next day, it was his announcement, and he signed with Notre Dame. For now, he verbally committed. Now Notre Dame has 4 top 20 receivers committed / signed for the past 2 recruiting cycles. That's tied with Alabama and LSU, and only Ohio State has more. I'm going to take what I can get. And more updates on the... Oh, that's what I got to talk about. The Shamrock Series uniform. Right. I didn't talk about it. I was going to make a video on it, and then it never worked out. It didn't work out. But on the sleeve, it has 2 gold stripes resembling the rivers and waterways of the city of Chicago's flag. The numbers are block slab serif numbers representing the city of Broadway shoulders. The helmet honors the Chicago flag, pairing it with the Notre Dame gold helmet. I think it's on the bottom of the back, is the pairing with stars. Is it stars? It's not stars, but it's something from the flag. The collar predominantly displays the program's mission statement, which is graduating champions, which we've seen from Brian Kelly multiple times on Twitter, actually a lot. The pants direct a nod to Notre Dame's 1924 national championship team that played at Soldier Field, and the gloves echo the city's Chicago flag by mirroring the pants stripe. I'm gonna say that jersey looks nice. I like it a lot. With how the jersey references back to history, how it looks, the references to the Chicagoan flag, everything that ties that jersey together, especially the nod to the 24 team that won it. I like it. I really do. It's a nice jersey. If you haven't seen it, go check it out now, because that Shamrock Series jersey for this year looks great. I really like it. And if you're a Notre Dame fan, you'll probably like it too. It's got a Notre Dame feel to it, but with some style and some touch added to it in a way. But the question was this is a question that was raised that I kind of wanted to get into, which was, alright, hold on. Was Ian Book in 2018, Kyle Hamilton in 2019, Kyron in 2020, probably. Who will emerge as a playmaker in Notre Dame that the Irish media is not expecting much of right now? And That's something that really got me thinking, because I immediately thought to the corners. Because I thought, what does the media think about guys like Cam Hart, Tariq Bracy, Clarence Lewis? Clarence Lewis is a big one because I think he's a sophomore, and he hasn't been redshirted. I think if he is, I think he's in a sophomore, his second year eligibility, or not second year, is whatever it is. He's 3 years away, or 2 years in his first of 3 years till he graduates, and you don't get the energy that's radiating off me right now. And he's just, I don't know what the media really thinks about him necessarily right now, but I honestly think he can be a real breakout piece. A young one, too. Who else? I was going to say linebackers, but I think only Drew White's the only guy that's like a junior. Sophomore. I think that's got 3 years left. I think the only one's Drew. I don't know. It was somebody. There's one linebacker I can't think of right now. I think it was Drew. And then another name that got brought up that I didn't really think of was Houston Griffith, the senior safety who finished 26th in the preseason ranking. And we've got Marcus Freeman coming in, and not only that, he's competing with DJ Brown for the spot alongside Hamilton. And from what I'm hearing, it's probably going to be Griffith. And this was even a quote from Brian Kelly. Quote, "We like the spring that Houston had. We love his leadership. We love what he's about in terms of his makeup." And that's good. I'm glad he said that, and that gives me good thoughts. And then junior Zeke Correll, who bumped around last year because of Jarrett Patterson reclaiming his role at center after he got hurt last year. He could be another breakout piece. And then early enrolled freshman guard Rico Spindler could be another one of those guys. Both kicking specialists. Early enrolled freshman Lorenzo Stiles. And Tyler Buchner. Those are some guys. Senior linebacker Shane Simon. That's another guy where I'm hearing, or that I'm thinking. Bramblett, I would say, yeah, he could step up. Dewar, I think he's already stepped up. Justin Adamiola, I think could. Tariq, yeah, I think he's someone who could step up. And Philip Riley. Philip Riley is a freshman. He could definitely step up. But anyways, let's continue on to other topics. I really slotted Celtic stuff into the Notre Dame. Am I serious? It was only one, though, thankfully. One of them where I just had the wrong one. Dude, my night is just not the best. Oh, and I just went out of my tweets. Okay. This is what I hate about having notifications on for a lot of stuff. Because then it keeps tossing me out of stuff. I'm like, wait, go back. Especially when I'm recording. Alright, come on, load. So, Notre Dame Football Analytics on Twitter did kind of a season preview on an outlook on the Irish offense. And I looked a little bit at it. And Ian Book really had a little bit better play and efficiency when he jumped from Chris Long to Tommy Rees. And then Jack Coan, it's a comparison here, and Coan didn't, in his 2019 season, I think he opted out 2020. He had, I'm reading through this quick. Honestly, I'd say he had a worse season than Book did in 2020. He threw one more touchdown, one more pick. He had worse yards per play. He had less yards. He had less first down percentage. He had less success percentage. And he did take less sacks. He took 9 less sacks, but his sack percentage was only 2% less. But he still did good. Here's the problem. We were very reliant on Book on third down last year. And let's hope that we don't have to keep relying on something like that. And in 2020, Notre Dame led the country in third down percentage when passing, minimum 20 plays, and averaged a 0.43 EPA per play. And Alabama had the best offense in CFB history last season, and Notre Dame's passing attack outperformed them on third down. Notre Dame had an EPA of 0.43 compared to Bama's 0.25. Third down percentage. Notre Dame, 42. Bama, 31. And they're going to have to shift a little bit towards modern offense to lessen the regression in that. And Book was a scrambler, as we know, and they're definitely going to miss that. And I do agree with that from Notre Dame football, or Notre Dame analytics. And he did more damage. He did a lot of damage. Okay. He ran for over 500 yards last year, had a success percentage of 52, and he had a 29% first down percentage, averaged over 7 yards per play, had 6 TDs and 3 fumbles, and he had a 4% fumble percentage, just as much as Jack Coan did, having 1 fumble. But yeah, go check this out fully. I don't want to fully look through this, and even though I want to, I'm not going to dig super deep into it right now because not only am I not in necessarily the swing to do it, because I think I got to be in the right mind sometimes to deep dive, especially on podcast. I just don't want to. I don't think that it's the time to do it right now. If I can flow through the rest of what I've got. So if you're a fan of stuff like that, go check them out, definitely. And this was Kyle Hamilton on the goals for next season. The goal never changes around here, and that's to win a national championship. I like that. I like that he's bringing that mindset, because if you got it in mind and you're gonna push for it, and you're really gonna push for it, especially since last year and what happened, that's gonna drive this team. And this is what Freeman said on Pat Moala. I don't know exactly where he was before the injury. It's good to have him out here. He flies around, plays extremely hard. That's good, because when he took that injury, we didn't necessarily know where he was going to be after it. And now he's to hear that he's kind of getting back into a flow for the game and everything, I'm glad. I've already talked about that quote on Houston Griffith. Big Game Boomer did a top 50 running back duos in college football, or had a top 50 running back duos in college football this season. And who was number 1? Kyron Williams, Chris Tyree, the junior sophomore combo. Both have 2 years of eligibility left. Let me note that. Second was CJ Verrill and Travis Dye of Oregon. Third was Kennedy Brooks and Eric Gray of OU. Fourth was Brian Robinson Jr. and Jace McClellan of Alabama. And fifth was Jarek Broussard and Alex Fontenot of Colorado. Some notable things here. Ohio State's 2 starting backs are at 11. What else? Michigan's 2 backs are at 15. USC's 2 backs are at 24. Where's Stanford? Did Stanford make the top 50? I don't think Stanford made the top 50. If Stanford really didn't make the top 50, I'm going to laugh. They really didn't. They don't, well, I'm not saying they're wrong, but they don't see them as a top 50. I kind of find that funny. They see Army having a better two backs. TCU's at 26. Coastal's at 37. I didn't think I'd see them on the list when I first looked. That I kind of laughed at because we don't know what Coastal's going to be next year, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different podcast. Not this week. And then you can also cop the Shamrock Series jerseys, too. The 2021 jerseys. You can get those now. I don't know why I put that in there. I just did. Apparently, we are now a walking advertisement for the Fighting Irish, so... We're really not, but... if you know, you know, right? If you're an Irish fan, you kind of know. Brian Kelly was asked who on the defense had a transformational summer akin to Braden Lindsey and Joe Wilkins on the offense. He listed Tariq Bracy, Clarence Lewis, Riley Mills, Cam Hart, and Kyle Hamilton. If you say Kyle Hamilton did some good things over the summer, that's good. And then earlier this week, Brian Kelly said that they were really, really, really close, or that they were really, really close, like really, really, really close on who it was going to be. He wanted to talk to Pine and Coan both, and was expected to announce it early this week, but he announced it today. Everybody announced it. Actually, when was that tweet? 12. Yeah, that tweet was 3 days ago. He's expected to announce it next week. He announced it 3 days later, I think, 2 to 3 days later. I was like, what? You said, oh yeah, we're gonna wait a while, kind of talk to him. No, you straight out just said 2 to 3 days later, he's our starter, Jack Coan. And then at one point, Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa did leave camp and went to Hawaii to his home following the death of his father. Hopefully he gets back and can be ready for football. It sucks that has to happen, but yeah, as long as he can take all the time he needs, really, right now. I feel for him. And then Brian Kelly also said, quote, we're pretty excited about this group and the way they trained. Now has to transfer it from the weight room to the football field. Fun group to work with. Tough season, but I like the way we're heading. That's good. That's very good. I just read that one. I have like 3 tweets from the same person lined up back to back to back, and every once in a while I'll press the same one and be like, nope, I already said that. Blake Fisher is out with a head injury and is entering 3rd phase of concussion protocol, and did come back yesterday, thankfully. So he did go through a concussion protocol earlier this week. If this will load. My phone's been slow today a little bit. No, I already said that. Myron did leave to go to home. Yeah, Notre Dame announced that Jack Coan was starting this fall at quarterback, and his accuracy is going to be an issue in a good way on offense. It definitely will. And you'll probably see a little bit more going deep, but I wouldn't say he's really a scrambling guy, and that's why. He's more of a pocket passer. He's got some strength. He's a very accurate quarterback, but he doesn't run. And that's going to be a big thing to transition from. And even as a fan, from the rushing and the improvising of Book, which I loved, to Jack Coan. I'd love to get another improvising guy because that's the kind of quarterback I love to see. A third of the reason I got into football was Michael Vick. I was always a fan of the improvising quarterbacks, like a Vick, like a Cunningham, like a Book, like those guys. You could even potentially categorize Lamar Jackson as that too. Alright, so I think this is going to be the last thing I talk about, which is captains. Unless this is one more. Unless this is something different, there should be captains. No, it's consistency. It's the big word around Jack Coan. Consistency, consistency, consistency. And that's good. I'm glad that's the word. I'm very glad that's the word. Alright, what is... I don't have the tweet on me. Actually, I might have one more thing before captains. Okay, that was the starting Coan tweet. Now I have to scan through messages quick because I shoot stuff to other people. Oh, so there's been big talk about Notre Dame having to do this, having to do that, having to go to a conference. And someone even said Notre Dame has nowhere to go but the SEC, checkmate. And I laughed. I laughed so much at this. It took me a minute. I had to put my phone down. And I had to get it out. And then Andy Staples, who is someone he covers college football for The Athletic. He said, going to start, and is Notre Dame still independent in football feed on here? And that just tweets the word yup every 12 hours for the next 50 years. Yes. Actually, no. Let's make it a website that, like the website istheuback.com, which says no because the U's not back. Is Notre Dame still independent? And it just says yup. Because that's what we are, and that's what we're staying right now. Because everyone's all, they gotta do this, they gotta do that, they gotta do this. No, they don't have to do anything. Notre Dame can just sit by, drink, or do whatever, like drink out of their cup, just sitting there watching the chaos going. You see, that's why we're not in a conference, guys. That's why we're not in a conference. And there's always people, oh, well, they got to move and they'll bring in money. And it's like, dude, money won't be a factor for Notre Dame. They've got a TV deal as independent. They've built a brand as an independent. They're financially stable. They're very financially stable as an independent. Look how much their campus has grown over the years. I went to my cousin at a wedding there a couple of years ago. The campus has grown a decent amount since I was there a couple of years ago. And actually, I think it was 20, I don't remember. I want to say 2019. Somewhere around that range, 18, 19. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But I just remember the time I had and I went on the turf. But I love how people go, yeah, they got to join. And they're like, oh, why don't they join up on the ACC? Or no, they go SEC, Big 12, Big 10, all of that. And I'm like, well, hate to break it to you, but number one, they've got a contract with the ACC to play 6 games, so there's that, and that's their motivation to go to the ACC. But the problem is the ACC would need them more than they need the ACC, and same goes for probably most other conferences. Not only that, they pick a little bit from everywhere, and you see it. They do it all the time. Why are they going to go to a conference and kind of pipeline out of the certain conference, because that's usually what you usually pipeline out of, kind of that conference range, and usually, yes, you do pick some from there, and everywhere, but you mostly stick within your conference. Notre Dame doesn't necessarily do that. They can do whatever they really want with recruiting, because they're independent, and they got a big brand. They can pick a little bit from everywhere if they want to. Like, you can go, it's like going up to an all-you-can-eat buffet and going, a little bit of this, and putting it on your plate, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Like, it's... They can do what they want. They can schedule who they want. They've got agreements to schedule people for years. Just like we got, I think it's Ohio State and Bama in the next couple of years here, within in around like the 23-25 range, I think. 23 to 25. I think we at least got Bama or Ohio State 1 or 2, or even Clemson. They're all scheduled around that range. And then the other spot would be landing in the same conference as their 2 big rivals, the USC and Stanford. And that would be the Pac-12. Right now, Pac-12 talking about potentially merging with... Well, there was first rumors about a potential merger with the Big 12. And now there's talks about a scheduling alliance between the Big 12. I think it was the Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and maybe the Big 10. I think it was. There was a 4th conference to that. Don't quote me on that. But I think it was the Big 10. And I said, Congratulations. Scheduling alliance. Notre Dame they've already got their own scheduling alliance with Clemson. They're fine. And people go, they're leeching off the ACC. They shouldn't have let them do that. Really? It's leeching? The ACC needs them more than they need the ACC. They get those ACC games watched. There's a reason why they schedule with Notre Dame. They get those games watched. They want people to watch those games. People watch those games, especially if it's something like a Notre Dame Clemson, which brought big ratings last year both times. Even if it isn't, if it's Notre Dame Florida State or Notre Dame Miami or Notre Dame UNC, those are still going to bring in good ratings. They're still going to bring in money, so they're going to make that deal. They're going to want to do that. They're going to want to get games watched. But whatever. I apparently don't know. But not only that, they fared just fine as an independent for their whole life cycle. What makes them need to join a conference now? They didn't need to join a conference any other year, but all of a sudden now more realignment. Oh, they got to join a conference. Why? Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. Not only that, they kind of govern themselves and can just sit back and relax when this happens and go, you know, this is why we aren't in a conference, because we can just sit back, relax, and kind of be with ourselves. We don't have to go through all this. But whatever. It's just funny, dude. I hear it all the time, and I just go, they don't need to, but whatever. I don't know anything. But the captains are Kyle Hamilton, Drew White, Tagovailoa Mosa, Jarrett Patterson, Avery Davis, Kurt Heinisch, and Kyron Williams. Myron Tagovailoa Mosa. I forgot his name for a second. Sorry, Myron. But those are your captains, and I'm going to end that there. I will see you guys next week. There probably will be news during the week. I will cover it. But other than that, I will see you guys next week.